Good morning. Please introduce yourself and tell us about a memory you have about your secondary school experience.
Well, first off, I would like to thank you for the interview. I really appreciate it. My name is Joseph Costa. I live in Frackville, Pennsylvania. Graduated from North Schuylkill in 2015, and I'm a graduate of the Pennsylvania State University Harrisburg campus in 2020 with my bachelor's degree in secondary education social studies. I completed my student teaching at Middletown Area High School in Middletown, Pennsylvania, and I am currently a substitute teacher at Tamaqua Area High School in Tamaqua, Pennsylvania. In addition to that, I really enjoy hockey. I like following it, playing it. I also enjoy playing golf, reading, and staying up to date on current events. When it comes to a story that I remember from secondary school, I had a very animated social studies teacher for a U.S. history class, and we were covering the beginning of the Spanish-American War. He gave us a project to recreate a replica of the USS Maine, and we all displayed our replicas in the hallway, and he asked for a volunteer without the student knowing what they were volunteering for, and destroyed their replica of the USS Maine, which the Americans blamed the Spanish for doing in Havana Harbor. This really stuck with me because he was animated and it was exciting, but it also showed just how the media influenced what the American people thought happened at the beginning of the Spanish-American War.
Tell us about special and unique skills you will bring to our organization that will help advance our mission and vision.
After reading the mission statement, I see that Eastern Lancaster County School District is very student-centered and 21st century oriented. I also read the blog post about project-based learning, which appears to be very similar to inquiry-based learning, which I have a good bit of experience with during my student teaching and education at Penn State. They both appear to be centered around one essential question, which drives the entire unit and everything is based around. There also appear to be different supplementary questions, which help the students further understand the topic and understand where we are coming from with the essential questions.
What are your three main beliefs about education?
My first belief is that all students are unique and need an environment to grow. What I mean by need an environment to grow is the classroom. I believe the classroom should be essentially a safe space for learning, set aside for learning. I believe that each student's point of view should be welcomed and respected in the classroom. My second belief is that it is my duty and responsibility to hold each and every student to the highest possible expectations that I can and hold them accountable for their work. And finally, I would teach each and every student as if they were my own. So what I mean by that is that I would give my own child the best possible resources and education that I could.
What are one or two authentic real-world projects you have incorporated or could incorporate into your social studies classroom?
While I never got to incorporate this project because of the pandemic and my student teaching being cut short, I believe that an interesting project to do would be a genealogy project during the melting pot unit, where the students would compile their own family tree based off of interviews that they do with living family members, as well as looking at possible old scrapbooks and whatever resources are available to them, such as Ancestry.com. We would also potentially take a trip to the courthouse so that the students could dig through the archives to see what else they could find.
What does a modern 21st century classroom look like? If you had an unlimited budget, describe the kind of 21st century classroom you would create and what kind of learning we would see in the classroom. How would the classroom you create be different than the traditional secondary school classrooms?
In my classroom, the lesson would begin in the hallway, and as soon as the students entered the room, they would be fully embedded into the lesson. I think it would be very, very cool to have kind of a 360-degree panoramic style classroom where things can be projected on the ceiling, on the walls, depending on what the lesson is. For example, when it comes to the London bombings in World War II, I would have the Luftwaffe flying overhead, If we were doing a lesson on the jungle for whatever reason, I would have plants and animals projected on the walls, as well as maybe plants in the room. I'd maybe ask the custodian to turn up the heat a little bit. So when it comes to being different from a traditional classroom, I would allow my students to walk around the stations, or for example, if we're looking at the London bombings, they could sit on the floor to protect themselves from the bombings. Again, the goal is to keep the students engaged and embedded into the lesson. Once again, I would like to thank you for this opportunity and interview, and I hope to hear from you soon.